1, go!
Welcome to the Set Count, your source for tournament results, storylines, and analytics set to the tune of your speakers. I'm your host, Vayseth, and I decide to abandon Michigan every 6 months. Suar, how you doing?
Really good. How have you been?
It's been busy. It's been a crazy month. A lot of things going on, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon.
It's only been 10 days. I'm already tired of it.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah. And our wonderful producer extraordinaire, Unrivaled's own Sage. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Back from Midwest Mayhem 6, and now I have a few weeks to kind of focus on some work before jumping back into the tournament grind.
Yeah. No, I mean, and what a weekend it was, right? Like, we had how many tournaments this weekend?
Too many is the number I came up with over the weekend.
Yeah. We did talk about oversaturation at the end of 2016, but we opened 2017 with probably one of the most loaded weekends we've ever had on record.
Well, the most loaded weekend on record for 2017, actually, since it is the first actual true weekend where you can actually host a tournament and not get flack for hosting it on New Year's Eve. So
no, that's true. And like, we're definitely going to talk about that when Suar runs the numbers for us later. But I just want to go over, let you know, last time we did an introduction, it was a pilot. And now we want to let you know the schedule going in so you know exactly what you're getting yourselves into. So we're going to have Suar run the numbers for us. Sage was over at Midwest Mayhem 6, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in one word, how was that?
Chaotic.
There you go. And then I'm currently still down here in Orlando for Smash Conference 69, and I guess in one word it was interesting.
This filler right now.
Interesting is like the worst word to ever hear.
Interesting is what you tell someone after you went on a bad date. That was interesting.
No, actually, I guess it wasn't quite interesting. It was more like I was studying it from the out. Well, I guess I'll talk about it later. But just to clarify, I was studying it from the outside for the first time in maybe over a year. I wasn't TOing. I didn't do anything but interact with the Florida community. So it was a unique experience for me as a TO that usually is like really in everything. So I guess unique for me just personally. But then we're going to talk about both events, and others around the world suffered various stream issues and internet issues. And we want to talk about what happened at our various events and how if you're a TO or attendee, you can understand those situations happen all the time. Then we'll hit the PGR. And
of course.
Yeah, we got to talk about that because that's coming out next week, right?
Yeah, it's going to come out this Sunday, actually, and there might be a sneak peek the day before, but we're going to keep that a secret for now.
Ooh, secrets. And then we want to talk about the future. January is looking a little less crowded than this opening weekend, where we have the most important events, all starting with G. Genesis Saga, the first 2GGC, coming up next week, and the following week we will have Genesis 4 itself, and we want to make sure to talk about that, the seating that was published, and everything in there that we can talk about. And then we'll flow into multiple different issues about commentaries coming up lately, so we want to make sure to hit that and talk about just the commentary situation in general from, I guess, the commentator's perspective.
Yeah, we're going to feature that in the section called the Runback, which is our viewer mail section. So we had a question that was brought into us this week, and if you want yours brought in, you can always DM one of us three on Twitter, or you can message the set count on Gmail at thesetcount@gmail.com. So title your question in the subject line with the Runback, so we know that you're talking about the Runback, because we're getting like 1 billion emails a day from a bunch of different stuff having to do with logistics and whatnot. So, make it a very compelling question. Make it something that you think other people want to hear. And you'll see what we have for the Runback today at the end of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
When you do it, be sure to include your name, tag, and whatever region you're from. And a fun fact about you, because I want it.
Yeah. We had tons of feedback on the pilot episode, but very few questions in general. It was mostly like, this is awesome, keep doing it. So if you have any constructive criticism, or like if you think any of us messed up, or you like what you hear, you can let us know. But for the Runback specifically, we would like to have some questions so we can interact more with everybody out there. But enough of that. I want to go right into Suar. Run us the numbers.
It's time for the numbers.
So the numbers. This will be the section in which we're going to be covering what happened in the weekend past. And, you know, I kind of want it to be a lax sort of thing, but also informative, because you fall asleep on a weekend or sleep in or something, and there's already 3 tournaments that are in, you know, top 8 or winner's side of top 16. So starting the numbers section, we have in West Chicago, Illinois, Midwest's own Midwest Mayhem 6, sporting 285 entrants. We actually had Zenodo taking the entire tournament over James 3-1.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
James had the sickest run like of all time. That man was on fire.
Yeah, James, the Luigi main from DMG, actually made an incredible tear through losers to only Diddy Ditto Zenodo in grand finals. So
oh man, because I was going to ask
Zenodo.
you to run the stats on when the last time there was a Luigi at grand finals.
Well, all last year at Xanadu with Boss's Luigi, if you remember those times.
I'll accept that.
So going into the Southeast in Florida, we had Smash Conference 69 with Salem taking it over Samsora with his Bayonetta over Samsora's Peach and Rosalina, taking it 3-1 in grand finals with a 3-0 from winners. 225 people attending in the MVG conference. And going into Japan, actually, we have Umebura SGC with Ken taking it over 9B's Bayonetta with his own Sonic, 3-winning him both times with 193 people attending that event. And then going into Europe, I mean, this is just, we're already all over the globe now. But going into Europe, we have PPT Winter put on by the Geeky Goon Squad. We had Larry Lurr flown out, showing his Fox and Meta Knight, and taking the entire tournament to the surprise of nobody. But Sive definitely gave him a run for his money with his Diddy and Bayonetta, going to Game 5, both in winners and grand finals. 133 people attended that tournament in total. Kumite in Tennessee 2017, featuring the 2 honored guests of DaBuzz and Anti, had a grand finals between both players, with DaBuzz 6-0ing Anti with his Rosalina to Anti's Mario and Meta Knight counterpick. Unfortunately,
wait, that was a 6. That was a 6-0.
Yeah, it was. You don't need to rub it in.
No, that's not what I meant. Like, I was just surprised. I was literally surprised.
So we're sporting 111 entrants for the Kumite in Tennessee, which is very impressive again, because these tournaments have all had over 100 entrants in the numbers section. And then we have Surge in Texas, actually with a grand finals that was undecided between Twee, a Peach player, and Megafox, a Fox player. Both players got to grand finals, and there was some sort of logistical error, and they didn't end up playing it out. So there actually wasn't a winner declared as of right now. But this Texas tournament featured 110 players, and that rounds out the numbers section with over 1,000 people playing in just 6 tournaments. And these are just the 6 tournaments that we featured, because there were plenty of tournaments. For example, Gums 12 in New England that happened this weekend as well, but it had less than 100 people. So all over the world, people definitely competing in this game. This game's not dying anytime soon.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you just told me there's over 1,000 unique entrants across just 6 events in Smash 4. I mean, last week we did talk about oversaturation, but this is kind of crazy.
10 days in already.
That's awesome. And like, other tournaments definitely didn't quite hit there, but there were definitely other tournaments going on this weekend as well, which just, the viewership must have been so split and segregated.
So interesting you say that about viewership, because I had a little bit of trouble finding these streams on Twitch. You want to tell us a little bit about that, Steve?
Okay, so when we were at Midwest Mayhem, we arrived at the venue, right? Like, whatever. We arrived that morning and start setting up about 30 minutes before the actual stream is supposed to go live. We run our internet lines, or it might have been it was somewhere within the hour and 30-minute mark. And we run our internet lines. I'm pretty much set up everywhere else. Cameras are focused out. Staging is set. Everything looks good. And I go to test upload to our bot channel, which streamers, if you don't have a bot channel, set it up because that is the best way to test your upload. So we go to test it, and 0 frames are coming through.
Let's go.
Midwest Mayhem 6.
Frame perfect though. I mean, right? Frame perfect if we're on frame 0.
Midwest Mayhem 6 was at a school venue. It's like a school cafeteria that they clear out and they put up a stage.
The classic.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I guess you make do with what you can. So, because it's a school venue, student internet blocks a lot of things, especially uploading. So
oh no, you can't go on newgrounds.com.
That's the classic.
Dude,
Eighth grade.
That's the secret tech in Microsoft Word class.
Oh my god. You're showing just exactly how old we are.
Am I dating myself? I've never even used that phrase. Oh, geez. Continue, please.
Okay, so school internet blocks websites, right? The EOs for the Events to Compete, they went there Friday night to kind of set the room, and they tested by just going to Twitch on a laptop, and that was it. And like they were like, oh, Twitch loads, cool, we're done.
Oop.
That is not a way to test because they didn't check uploads. So the way the school is wired was they only had 2 ports throughout the whole building that were available for unlimited upload. So to fix it, we had to go out, buy a router, run like 300 feet of cable
Oh my god.
down a stairwell and like prop it open into a splitter and then run it all the way to my computer, as well as like split that off and run that to Events to Compete's computer for the side stream. And on top of that, the router that they gave us didn't have an IPv6 out like address, so we couldn't actually use their router that they gave us. So we had to like take their router out, plug in this new one that we had to go buy. Eventually, this whole situation took like 4 hours to resolve because they had like a
jacked into the mainframe at a high school cafeteria.
So luckily, there was a networking engineer from Ohio by the name of Riddler who basically configured their whole network differently so it would work.
Okay, so
Wait, did he put it back? Or
did he put it back?
We just like handed the gear that the school gave us and then just left. I don't know what they did.
He crashed the entire mainframe at Johnson Elementary in
Wow.
So
Sage, what you're trying to tell me is this was all entirely your fault and completely in your control, and you're just not very good at what you say you're good at, right?
Yeah, never hire me, guys. So basically, the lesson to learn out of this, if you're a TO and you're finding a venue, when set up like a TO channel on Twitch, just like use a random account and start it, and bring your laptop in with OBS or XSplit or whatever. And when you get there to do your venue walkthrough or like talk to them, just quickly try to go live on Twitch and just leave it running during your discussion. And you don't even have to stream anything; it just be a black screen. But then come back, look, and see your dropped frames. And if every single frame is dropped, you know there's a problem.
Usually he charges for this advice, so please take that to heart.
Take the freebies. Take the freebies while you can get them.
That should just be a standard. Do that from now on. Everybody, test your internet, test your uploads, please. Save your streamers headaches.
But Florida. What happened in Florida?
I was gonna say that doesn't always happen because, from what I understand, happened with Smash conferences. They tested everything because the streamer was there the night before. They set it all up very meticulously. Their streamer is extremely detail oriented. Tested everything. Both streams were running perfectly good speeds, either like 20 or 40 up or something. I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head. Like I said, I was just interacting with the community most of the time. But when they got in day of the tournament, they were getting like 1 and 2 up and 1 and 2 down.
All right. LAN party.
So they did everything that they could, and still, for some reason, the venue internet decided it wasn't going to work. I guess what ended up happening is it wasn't either on the engineers didn't put it on a dedicated port or whatever, and it was a quick fix once they realized it. But up until then, it was pretty chaotic, as Sage said, was at Midwest Mayhem 6. But I did feel a bit better when I found out that it wasn't just happening at that tournament. And like, you guys, everybody at home should just take this down that like all these things tend to happen at tournaments. Like if a stream goes down, especially when you're dealing with professionals like Sage, like chances are there was some sort of port. Like, it's so complicated. Internet is so complicated, and
What is the internet, man? How does
dude,
that even
like,
work?
if you're a TO, like, make sure when you're going for a venue, like, you know what you're talking about, and you make sure that your engineers know what they're talking about, and you stress the fact that, look, if my setups go down and we don't have enough power to power this, I can't do this. Also, importantly, just the importance on streams now, and like for making big announcements at tournaments, which has started to become the norm. You got to make sure that power is like the amperage is there, and you have to make sure that the internet can, Sage instant uploads. So you need to have a decent, so that way you can still stream like at full source and instant upload. And if you're a TO, these are questions you have to have confident answers to. And if they don't have confident answers to you, either find someone that does or find a new venue.
Yeah. The downside, like, one of the things that like sucks for us is that's 4 hours of revenue lost. It's 4 hours of ad revenue that makes up a good portion of how we make our living.
Yeah, I mean, my heart definitely goes out. My thoughts and prayers both to you and the MVG conference, only because you prepare for this event for so long, flying out top talent, getting housing arrangements set up, the carpooling, the morning breakfast at McDonald's, the poverty breakfast sometimes. Shout out to McDonald's. Just shivering in the cold, getting everything ready, getting the chair set up, putting the controller ports to where they go, getting the one Wiimote for the entire venue to turn on every setup because you have to have a gamepad to even get onto Smash Wii U. Doing all that only to have your internet not work is just, that bites.
And the thing is, like, everybody at the venue knows exactly what's going on because they can see it happening in front of them. But everyone else is looking from these streams, just takes to Reddit and takes to Twitter and goes, "What's going on? The tournament in shambles? Like, did it fail? Blah blah blah." And there was a lot of that leading up to, like, because I was at the venue and I didn't notice too many problems with the attendees. Like, pools were still going on and whatnot. But the moment I looked at Twitter, everyone's like, "Where's the stream? Where's the stream? Where's the stream? Is it dead? Is it dead?" And
Tournament's canceled, guys. Go home.
yeah. They just assume the worst possible situation from it. But
I can't handle new circumstances in a situation I don't understand.
I mean, I think it's just literally an awareness issue, where people just don't know that this happens all the time. And as TOs, we can definitely go and fix that. Like, I went to the Frame Perfect Series 2 venue today, and I got a guy from the venue and a guy who knows more about these things than even I do. And they had a very long conversation, and they definitely think that neither power nor internet will be a problem. But before you guys go in there, especially if you're doing these majors where you're signing major contracts, the salespeople will try to say, "Yeah, we can get you as much power and as much internet as you want." And they're just not used to esports and like what actual demands we have. So they just think about like what their biggest event was, and they're like, "Oh, we had a job conference where we had like 58 booths and there was no problem."
A what conference?
A job conference, or like
A job conference.
whatever
just need,
those
like,
are called. Job fair. That's what it's
Job
called.
fair.
They need just like a
Yeah.
projector and some plugs for people's phones.
Let's go.
Yeah. So they don't understand how many watts or amps a lighting stream setup takes.
Oh my god. I have a whole like amperage coverage sheet for what we take, and it's a lot. But just so people know how many events actually have internet issues, here's a list of them. Big House 6,
God.
we had internet issues.
Internet drama.
Internet drama for the first 30 minutes. We were dropping super hard frames because we were on the wrong dedicated line that they ran us. All they had to do was switch it at the router into a different plug, and it was like fixed. But it took us 30 minutes for them to like figure it out. Showdown, we had internet issues. Comcast was supposed to upgrade their internet for the event. They never did, so we had to shut down for like 5 minutes. Middle of
Shout
the event.
out to Comcast, my boys. I love
They
them.
actually, Comcast almost prevented this episode today, guys.
Yeah, we've been having various technical difficulties and haven't been able to record for quite a while because Sage has Comcast, and they they pretty much bodied his upload for the entire night. So if there's any cut-ins or cutouts, you guys know what happened.
The entire corporate structure of Comcast can go down tomorrow, and I wouldn't lose any sleep over it.
Whoa! Thanks for making sure we never get that Comcast sponsorship. What's wrong?
Okay, I would literally leave this podcast if I had to read for Comcast. Literally, if I had to read for some Comcast, oh my god,
All right, we're done.
I'm triggered.
I'm cutting you off.
I'm already triggered. When that prepares,
Sage was into a list, and I'm sure it was longer, but
Oh yeah, Middlespan 5, Endgame. What else did we do?
way to just take all the magic away from these events, man.
So, pretty much if I'm at an event when the internet goes down, because you'll see me sprint left and right about
Maybe
12
it's
times.
because you're the common factor in all these events, though.
Yeah, but
Am I-
every one of these events is at a new venue, and then every time there's just like something dumb that's wrong.
But you're always there. Is that?
I mean, yeah,
is
but
that
I
what
wasn't at
But-
Smash Conference.
Sage, it's your fault. Hold the L. But for everyone else,
This segment is now titled "Hold the L."
hold that L, and let's just make sure that so everybody else knows out there that internet and power is definitely critical to the success of your event, and I think it's entirely underestimated. So if you're a new aspiring TO, or even if you're a major TO, like make sure that you have somebody who knows exactly, like if they're not talking in amperages and like where drops are and how they're wired and how much upload and download they get, and if they don't say things like dedicated lines and ports, they probably don't know what they're talking about, and you better find the person who does.
Yeah, flux capacitors too are really important.
And spider boxes. One of those is real. You
Well-
better go online and find out which one it is.
Well, luckily, like Comcast pre-triggered me already, because that brings us right into our next section.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, wait. I actually don't know where you're going with that.
You know that next week we're gonna have, well, not even next week, but like literally in 5 days, we're gonna have the Panda Global Rankings released online, both in article and video format, and I don't think I'm ready for it.
Wait, what do you mean?
What-
I
why?
thought you said it was done. As of like last week's episode, you definitely.
I
said
don't
it
think
was
I'm
done.
ready for the gym barrage.
Why did
Oh.
Comcast? Why was Comcast the transition there?
Yeah,
Well,
like what? Okay, so Comcast-
It pre-triggered me. Like I am pre-triggered.
Oh, okay.
okay,
The-
okay.
I
I'm
tried to
actualized.
figure out a way to link that to Comcast, and I couldn't come up with it. I was like, I didn't know where you were going.
Just
and
go
then
with it.
Okay, let's roll.
Just go
On to
with it.
PGR.
So, I mean, I know that it's been delayed, and like from what I understand, it's been basically making those videos and making sure it's right. Because unlike last time where you guys put it out there and it just sort of became a thing, now it is a thing. So you have to like take extra care in presenting it now, right?
ESPN is watching.
Wait,
That like ESPN's watching. Like literally, like there are a lot of journalists right now, esports journalists, that are waiting for the day it drops. Some have scoops, some don't, and they're waiting. They're literally watching. Like ESPN is watching is something I never totally wanted to have be a thing in my life, but it is. We made it, but it's a lot of pressure. So, you know, on top of the rankings, yes, they have been done since Christmas Day. Santa Claus came down and gave us the 50 names, and we're like, okay, did you check this twice? And he's like, yeah, this is it. And we're like, okay, thanks. Thank you, Santa. Here we are. Here's the top 50.
Blame Santa.
Yeah, no, just take your Johns up with Santa, because I'm not dealing with it. But yeah, you know, like a lot of people are watching. And, you know, initially we had a schedule that worked with the team, because we got like a team of like 9 people, you know, both writers and researchers, both on PG Stats, both within Panda. We even hired outside help because it's that big of a endeavor, which will be revealed in time. But yeah, like a lot of people are watching that matter, and a lot of people are going to learn about it that matter, and a lot of people that we want to do right matter. Like not only the 50 players on the list, because this list will inexorably be tied to potential offers they get, because it's going to be one of the things that they can bring up on their resume, but also like the community, because this is for the community after all. And we don't just want to put out like a text file with 50 names. Like it's a production. And Fiasco and Keith have been working incredibly well and hard, along
Yo,
with
I didn't know
Alpharad.
Fiasco was doing it. That's actually pretty hype.
Yeah, no, Fiasco with the cleanest VFX I've ever seen. Like him and Keith just make magic, and they did the last one together. And so, you know, with Alfred voicing it, I mean, he's busy with like his own projects. So like, there's obviously a lot of, you know, consideration we have to take. And we just got through Christmas and New Year's. So like, I'm sorry, but like through Christmas and New Year's, that's like the worst time to do anything that
All right, this is
isn't.
probably the most important question that I have to ask you.
Please don't ask who's on it.
Did you already prep the Smash wiki so you know what date it comes out?
Yeah,
Good. So what date does it come out?
the 15th. This
Okay.
Sunday, literally 2 days after the Friday the 13th, which was the original day that the top 10 was going to be released, which I had specifically slated so that it would be the day of the worst luck on this planet. We moved it to the 15th this Sunday. So the 15th will be 41 through 50. The 16th all the way till the 19th, you're going to have the day before Genesis, all of top 10 released. Well, top 10, top 20, 30.
That's
40,
actually pretty
50.
hype. And I know a lot of people were talking about, you know, it should have been out leading up to Genesis so that way you could possibly get more sponsored because they had like these big tournaments like Evo or whatever. It's and CEO last year was a big thing where sponsors are doing deals behind the scenes and they want to make sure, you know, if they're on the PGR and that helps players get sponsorships.
Well, okay, here's the thing. Here's my issue. Release it before so that players are treated well and they get the most out of their placement and this and that. Well, many teams and sponsors have been doing research in this scene for quite a while. And yes, there will be an influx of your, you know, like there will be an influx of DMs on your Twitter for offers if you're in the top 30, even the top 50. But top 30 get the most attention just because, I mean, you're in the top 30. Congratulations. But you're going to get flooded with DMs, flooded with people that are just starting an esports team. And they're like, hey, we want to feature you. And like, we don't have a big budget, but like, we really care about compassion. And yeah. And then you're also going to get maybe like, I don't know, like an S tier team, a team coming from League of Legends or Counter-Strike that's interested. And they're like, wow, you can build our brand. Let's talk. Those teams have been researching for quite a while, and they have been in the works for some time. Like how we saw Abadango got announced by Luminosity Gaming, like mid-tournament, like stuff like that is not like spontaneous. Stuff like
That's
that.
actually really true. And like that's something I didn't think of where some tournaments it's like and now we're announcing we're announcing that we're taking on this player and we're supporting them at this tournament. And some of them, it's like on day 2, they made it to day 2 or day 3, and we're like, we would like to announce that now they're wearing the jersey and they're going to be representing us on the main stage or whatever. So it is pretty interesting that those timings.
Oh, it's all like esports is all about timing and positionality. Like that's all I've learned ever since I've joined Panda. Like esports is like every tweet you've ever seen by a major esports team, major esports org, like none of it is by accident. And none of it is ever pandering to anything more than to sponsors and to teams with like and orgs and other things that have money so that they can see that and be impressed and just flock to it, you know? So like, yes, like the Panda Global Rankings have been delayed by 10 days, but yes, this is also something that a lot of people are going to be looking at and watching and deducing whether or not they want to join this scene or reaching out to one of these players or becoming a part of the community. If there's someone at home that just wants to play and be like, oh my God, this kid who lives in wherever I live just made 39th in the world. Let me talk to him or her or whatever and work something out. And again, like,
I mean,
it has to be polished. You know?
It's like what you said last week. Like this will affect 50 lives and probably even on a grander scale than before. But I want to wrap that up and kind of segue into what you said about all announcements are on this, like they're planned and they're definitely on purpose.
Deliberate.
Yeah. And we want to talk about it because both Midwest Mayhem 6 and Smash Conference had it. But before we move into that, are there any surprises in the PGR without giving anything away? Are people going to be surprised?
People, yeah. I mean, people, first of all, when you don't pay attention to results, you're gonna be like shook out of your mind when you see it. There is first, I mean, it's not even spoiling because I mean, we all know the names more or less up until the 30ish. But we all know names that we've been throwing around. I mean, like we know like people like anti Mr. R, like they're definitely on it. Where they are is again a point to really look forward to. But this one features sponsors and teams at a level that the first one couldn't even hold a candle to. And
That is true. That is true.
that to me is like not only, representative of growth, but also of like the interest and like concerted efforts that teams are making because like again, it's ridiculous that people are getting reached out to at the levels they are, at the pace that they are compared to before. Because I remember the top 10 came out last time, and let's see who it was. It was Zero, Nairo, DeBuzz, Mr. R. Fifth, we had Abadango. Sixth, we had Ally. Seventh, Larry Lur, Void, Renai, and Anti. Mr. R never had a sponsor, has never had a sponsor, so he didn't have a sponsor. Renai didn't have a sponsor. Ally.
What was Boreal or
Yeah.
yeah.
No. But we are talking like household 6-7 figure teams. Okay, we're talking like TSM and C9. Those were not in the mix. Then we had Anti get Immortals afterwards. Well, they had the Dream Team stint, but that never happened. But you had a top 10 that was largely underfunded compared to like if you showed me the top 10 players in Dota, like yeah, they're gonna be
Well,
sponsored, and they're gonna have salaries, and they're gonna have like probably medical insurance. But yeah, we're getting there. But the last top 10 wasn't. This top 10 we'll see. But
We'll
again,
see.
like, but this top 50, like, there's more and more teams that like, whether it's homegrown or S tier, I mean, you see this interest that has been completely encapsulated at the highest level of Smash, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's really cool. It's just really cool.
Yeah,
So.
it's definitely. I think 2017 is going to be a big year for transition, and hopefully we've progressed enough where in 2018 we can start making those steps towards those other things. So again, announcements, tying it all together. Announcements are timed on purpose, and it's all premeditated. And in order to make those announcements, you need proper internet, so make sure you do. But let's actually cover those two announcements before we move on to the next segment. We talk about Genesis. So, Sage, since you're at Midwest Mayhem 6, can you tell us what we learned there?
Yes, 2 tournaments were announced for Midwest Mayhem. At Midwest Mayhem, it is Midwest Mayhem 7 Mexico Invasion. I forget the names of the players who are attending off the top of my head, but it's definitely a really stacked lineup. I didn't make the trailer. Somebody else did. It was given to me the day of, and I was like, oh, cool. I didn't even know about the tournament.
Oh, wow.
Everything's deliberate. Everything's planned.
Everything's premeditated.
E2C planned it. They know that they can just hand me files the day of, and I'm able to deal with it. So they were just like, here. And then at the same time, we premiered right after that 2GGC Midwest Mayhem Saga happening in February. They have yet to officially announce the date because there were a couple conflicts, so they were waiting on that. And I am also super happy to know that I will most likely be out there for that one.
Nice. Okay, so we finally have this 2GG cooperation that they've been talking about and working with other regions. There's literally a saga now dedicated to, well, an entire tournament series, but basically an entire region. This is big for the Midwest.
Yeah, it's definitely huge. Funny enough, there's only 2 players from the Midwest being flown out, like for sure at the moment.
Right, because the Midwest Mayhem sagas were mostly invaders.
Yeah, so it's all the winners, and the winners were Zenodo has won 3 now. Ally won either 1 or 2, and then the other ones were False and 6WX.
Right.
Oh.
And then they announced that they're flying out more people specifically from the Midwest this time, because I'm sure they addressed that, or they saw that. They're like, this is a Midwest saga, and we don't have that many Midwest people. So there are going to be 3 other events in which the highest placing Midwest player will get to go.
Yeah, I mean, I like that kind of template where it's, hey, go to these events, qualify for it, and then you'll come to this championship series. I think that that's the way that 2GGC needs to be handled, because it's centralized in SoCal, that if you have these qualifying events, all of a sudden you're going to be able to get all these other players out there who are good and who do want to go to this championship series.
Yeah, and I think they're doing a Genesis 4 style, and Big House 6 did as well, opt-in Smash GG thing where Midwest players only can opt in, and with votes and donations, we can get more Midwest players out there. It's really good for the scene because 2GG has finally answered their biggest criticism.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like the qualifier to the qualifier to the qualifier. So, hey, we heard you liked qualifying, so you can qualify while you qualify in your qualifier.
I never thought about it that way.
It's a circuit for a circuit.
Yeah, that's
I love
so
it.
true.
I love it.
We are so meta right now.
But yeah, I mean, then we have again the first circuited event this weekend, Genesis Saga. That's so crazy.
Yeah, that's coming. But I guess everybody knows by now, but at Smash Conference, I announced that I'll be moving to Orlando to help MVG do their global initiative.
Woo!
Oh, Japan. I can't wait.
I did it.
Japan.
I finally did it, everybody. The dream is alive. I'm finally given the opportunity without revealing too much. There's going to be significant opportunities for people to, at least assist, if not fully fund their trips to Japan. And we're going to go to Japan's Tier 1 premier major in Umebura, and it's going to be in their biggest venue yet. It's going to be a 2-day, and I was able to talk to Umeki and get that locked in. Frame Perfect Series 2 is just another one where we have all these international players, Android, Armada. AMSA was revealed at the event, plus the other previously announced MK Leo, plus 7 other Japanese players, including Kome, the Shulk, who has never left Japan before, and Fua Earth, the static couple team that has also never come out to compete in Smash 4. So pretty excited that I'm given these opportunities to, give back to the Japanese community because I went to Japan for the first time as a high school student, and Japan has been nothing but great to me, and I'm glad I can finally give back, through Smash. And that's the coolest thing. Like I could have, been a teacher of Japanese and did study abroad programs and stuff, but being able to actually give back to all the cool stuff that Japan has, all the cool opportunities that they've given me, all this time through Smash. Now that's awesome. And I'm so happy to work with MVG to achieve these outrageous plans and goals I have. And there's definitely more. I just have all of these crazy things in my head, and somebody eventually agrees to them.
Well, how much manga do I got to read to get a ticket to that?
Like a manga marathon. Who can read?
How...
Like in elementary school, you had those stickers for how many books you read, and then if you read them all, you could get a pizza certificate or a book or a certificate.
The square cutout cards with the circle and the coupons for all the neighboring businesses and stuff.
Right.
I didn't have that. That's garbage. Ours was we had to read a bunch of books and take a test on it, and if you didn't pass the grade.
All right, listen.
You weren't loved.
Yeah,
you weren't loved.
That's pretty standard, or so I thought. But anyway,
I'm mad.
No, it should be fun. I'm really excited. Kind of bummed out about leaving Michigan again. Literally 6 months in Japan. 6 months later, I'm leaving them. But it's been good. Lots of support all around just for this global initiative that MVG has done. And I'm excited. So, but that will wrap up our numbers segment. That's what happened in the past week. And we're going to move on over. But we want to remind you that you can get at us at the set count at Twitter and email us at thesetcount@gmail.com. And we'll just move on to the next Genesis.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, I can't believe it's been a year since the last one. Fiasco's trailer highlighting everything from that event was just so godlike.
Oh yeah, dude, they have multiple. This is really cool actually on the trailer side because they've been having Wii U specific ones and Melee specific ones as opposed to before it was a blur of both of them. But now each scene, has been getting dedicated trailers like the Mango trailer and the Wii U trailer and whatnot. There was a lot of hype moments.
It's time.
Yeah.
It's time for sure.
So we want to highlight Genesis Saga, which has people from all over. I'm most excited about Komori Kitty and MK Leo teaming together.
I mean, it's honestly such an amazing project just because of the fact that it's a prelude to Genesis, and 2GG's really shouldering a lot so that people can stay in SoCal and then go to Genesis that following weekend.
Right, and just support California.
Hold up. Are they playing Double Cloud?
Yeah, that was
Well,
advertised.
that's not confirmed specifically. Like,
I think it's happening at Genesis Saga. I saw a poster for it.
I'm sad.
Neither player has told me that's what's happening, but it's almost certainly happening. Who am I kidding? Like, Double Cloud's busted.
I'm sad. Save doubles.
Actually, it's like stage 4 illness.
But yeah, we'll finally get to see our first 2 GGC. It's been the most talked about thing since it was announced, and we'll get to see how the first one goes.
Yeah, I'm excited. And then obviously leading into Genesis 4, I mean, so much is on the table already, even just with the seeding that Bear released. I mean, geez, just going through this top 8. This top 8 seeding of 0, MKLeo, Larry Lur, Ally, Void, Nairo, Kamurakiri, Anti, like, that's just top 8.
No. What's ridiculous is the other 8 names that didn't make top 8.
All right, so you forced my hand on this one. So Abadango, DeBuzz, Mr. R, Kamame, Renai, Mars, Salem, and Tweak. Dang.
So, just in case you guys didn't do the projected math,
no one did. People are like in their car right now driving to their job.
Okay.
So considerate.
Before winners quarters, we will have 0 versus Tweak.
Let's go.
The personal MVG heartbreak of MK Leo versus Salem.
Free him up. Free him up.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about that, but
free him up.
Listen, it would be biased if I said anything about it.
I'll be right now. MK Leo's gonna take it. That's all I need to say.
MK Leo's MVG. They're both MVG. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, oh yeah, that's true. Shout out to announcements.
Suar doesn't care. Suar's free him up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, actually, Leo was supposed to make that announcement with me, and it was going to be even more hype, but the political climate in Mexico prevented that, unfortunately. But he will be at Genesis Saga. Genesis 4 should be awesome. And at Genesis 4, he's going from teaming with Como to teaming with Ally. I don't actually know which is scarier.
That's also kind of like moving him up in the world. Like, that's ridiculous. No offense, but like, I mean, Ally, that's godly.
But to continue on with this, so once again, 0 Tweak. This is before winners quarters, okay? So like some of these players are not making top 16 or top 13. Either way, before winners quarters, we're going to have 0 and Tweak, MK Leo and Salem, Larry Lur and Mars.
Oh, that's a planet.
Yeah. We're going to have Ally and Runai. That kind of rhymes. I like that. We'll have Void and Kameme, the Runback.
Gross.
From Evo.
Gross.
And then we'll have Nairo and Mr. R.
Gross.
Oh, jeez.
Komori Kitty versus DeBuzz and Anti-Abadango, former Big House 5 teammates. Like, that's insane. Half of these players that we just said will not be making winners quarters. Like, let's just think about that.
Half of these players won't top 8. Bro.
That's
true. Bro. Jeez. Jesus. We've reached the point.
All 16 of those names, if you were like, he got 9th, you'd be like, oh man, he must have got bodied or something dumb. And some of them are going to get like 13th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
and that's assuming we don't have upsets. Like, there's still so many different people coming from all over. I believe we're going to have Mexico, Japan, Europe more represented than ever before. I mean, we have crew battles like crazy, highlighting some of these. We're going to see some rare matchups. We're going to see some players that we've never seen before. Like, Genesis in general is going to be insane.
Insanity. Yeah, and it'll be the nice first event of the year for the PGR version 3. And I can't wait because at least it'll set the stage for some stuff so we can start researching. But everyone that matters is gonna be there. And if you're not there and you matter, you know what I mean. Okay, don't be that guy. But this
tweet at him.
There's one for the books for sure.
I was just about to ask you guys, like, let's do a prediction for top 8. But like, this is like way too hard. Like, I'm gonna actually do some research, and maybe this is a segment for later on where if we go into majors, maybe we should do bold predictions and like figure out who won.
I like it.
I
like it.
Yeah.
MK Leo is always.
Let's do
let's do that next week.
ESPN, they do it. They do that where they make the predictions live, and then they keep like a running score through the whole season, and somebody wins at the end of the season.
Right,
Ooh.
right.
Well,
So-
MKLeo is my top 8. Like,
That's
he'll
it.
get like all top 8 spots somehow.
Well, everyone thought that, but then he got what, top 16 at UGC? Like,
No. Like, first will be MKLeo. Second will be also MKLeo.
You mean Darkshad?
Third will be MKLeo.
all right.
Fourth.
We need Darkshad and his water bottle to save the day.
No. Fifth
There you
place
go.
tie. Fifth place tie between MKLeo and MKLeo. And 7th place tie between MKLeo and MKLeo.
If you guys didn't know, Suar is a giant MK Leo fanboy.
like, oh
It's
my
not even,
god.
It's not even like, it's like Kitaro and then like a galaxy separates us and then me. Like that's
You're
how much I
still-
fan over him.
That's all right. Well, I mean, in any case, we're closing up on an hour, so I want to make sure to get on this question. That
The
was given
Runback!
up, Runback. So, Swar, why don't you cover that up?
So the run back again, it's the viewer mail. It's your questions to us. We try our best to finagle our way. That's an SAT word, finagle to finagle. Our way through the questions and try to give our best response from the insight we have as, you know, our experience and just the stuff we know in and out of the game. So I had a question from Halogen in Florida, Twitter handle Halogen Talks. And he asked something that I thought was very relevant going into 2017, only because our production value as a whole has been really on the up and up. And it's about commentary. So here's Halogen. He said, any steps that commentators could take to preserve our interests at tournaments? Currently, there's little bargaining power for all but the best. And at anything less than a super major, commentators are usually put on the back burner. We're also very much subject to the whims of TOs and streamers who can make decisions that ultimately harm commentators overall. And then he was just pretty much asking like any advice to sort of, you know, act
So
in
you
our best
picked
interest.
this question specifically because you have a streamer and a TO, so you want to just put us on blast here? Is that exactly? Because this question doesn't apply to anything that Swar does. It just makes us look bad. Sage, like, what is he doing?
I actually have a written response that I researched and footnoted, so I can start with that unless you want to.
No, all right. Let's address this.
Let's let the saboteur. Yeah, the saboteur can follow it up.
All right. So this is a question I was looking forward to ever since I got it this morning.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
you would. All right.
But it's really complex. All right, it's a complex modern day issue in Smash.
It
like-
really isn't though.
Like, okay, but it is, because this is the sort of thing that more and more people should be discussing. Like, I'm at such odd ends with this because like there's just so many bad commentators. Like, so many bad commentators exist. Oh my god, it just makes it really hard to be positive about it because I'm bleeding bias here. But here's what's what. All right, so first off, like, I think in this situation, like, okay, you gotta fight for your best interest, right? So I think, in my opinion, you gotta first understand where you stand in the commentary meta, and you gotta play to your strengths, okay? Because you have to stand out, and the only thing that is gonna stand out about you is how you talk and how you deliver, and that's really hard to do because it's like you're trying to sell yourself, like literally yourself. Like a player to a team is like, here are my results, here are my points. Okay, cool, done deal. But like as a commentator, you have to be a personality, and you can't really learn that. Like, it's really tough. So my advice is kind of like, imagine a pentagon. Like, imagine the commentator pentagon, and on each corner you have a characteristic, right? So if you're drawing this at home, like, I'll just name it really quick. You got knowledge at
This
one
is so
corner.
complex.
No, but listen.
Yeah, I have a really
give me
simple
moment.
answer
Give me a
for
moment.
this.
Yeah, me too. And we're the ones getting called out. Like, what are you doing?
No, but
Draw
seriously,
this at home, guys. I thought you said they were driving.
no. Well, you know, now we're at that point in the question in the podcast. Sorry, where I mean, people have settled down. Now they're listening on their couch after they got home and they got to make.
All right,
dinner.
all
So-
right. Tell us
I'm
about your
picturing
draw.
it.
All right, tell us about your doodle theory, and we'll tell you what really happens. Go.
So knowledge, one corner, presence of mind and intuition at the other, chemistry, and then presence, and then analysis. And the thing here is that you have to make sure that not only these like 5 things are sort of accounted for in how you deliver your commentary, but also like what your best attribute is, and worrying about whether or not that's all you have. Because in my opinion, like when you have too much of any of these, it's like a burning building. It's just like awful to watch. Like if you only have knowledge, then you don't come across at all well to the stream. You don't work well with a partner because you don't have chemistry, and you're kind of just hard to watch because you don't have any presence, you know. But on the other example, like if you only have analysis, like same thing, like you're just delivering these things that your partner can't really bounce off ideas off of, and then you just end up like like a talking head. And again, if you only have presence and you're just obnoxious and trying to take up all this screen time by yelling into the mic, then again, you're gonna falter because like it's so hard. So I mean, going like just to close, take a look at like what you're good at and like
To
advocate
close,
for
man,
yourself.
you get to say anything.
No, I mean it's like you got to look at what you're good at, you know, like look at what you're good at.
Obviously, very passionate about this, but like when you said draw a pentagon with like these things, all I can think of is Dance Dance Revolution difficulty graphs, where you had like the voltage, air, like chaos, stream, and oh god, what's the other one?
Okay, but literally
And,
commentary.
like drawn so you can see exactly how many times you have to jump and stuff like that, and that's all I can imagine in my head. So I just can't take you seriously right now. But
Commentary is like DDR because no one's gonna get you out of it except yourself. Right? Like you have to advocate for yourself at any event that you're at, because you're gonna get pushed to the back for bigger names, and you're gonna be like super like snubbed if you don't speak up. So I mean, look at what you're good at and speak up for yourself and advocate, because one of the hardest things going into 2017 is making sure you stand out when all these events are gonna have top names, even commentating like doubles pools after like, you know, round 1. So you have to make your best efforts to differentiate yourself, and that's all I have to say.
Play
is,
DDR,
you know, a little bit.
so you know your skill set.
there you go. All right, like going forward, I'm going to demand these pentagrams, or like I'm going to demand these pentagons.
When
Listen, that is
Hail
not
Satan.
foreshadowing about how I feel about commentators. I swear to God, they're great. I love them.
I gave it my all.
Some
so
of them.
Shout out to whoever. Shout out to Halogen for asking.
But yeah, no, I definitely need that. Everyone needs to give me exactly where they are in the graph and like which ones they're strongest on and whatnot. Just look it up. Everyone
Think
knows
how
what I'm talking
easy it
about.
would be to match people who have never met before if you have their commentary.
yeah, from now on,
That's
in
true.
when we put out commentary applications for Unrivaled tournament stream,
in the Google form.
we're gonna have a section where you 1 through 100 on each skill, and it's gonna make a pentagon for you.
Oh
It's
my
like an
God.
RPG now. It's like an RPG. All right. What's more fun than that?
Stay tuned
Commentary
for the next.
RPG.
All right, that better be done by Frostbite. That's happening now. I don't care. That's
Well-
like I'm dead serious. It's my joke. It's happening.
Well, what are your 2 cents then? Because I just gave like a $50.
All right. It's really one of two things. You either do what some people have done where they make sure to take really quote unquote good care of their commentators, where everybody gets significant airtime, everyone gets paid, everyone gets all the perks, but it completely cuts out any new emerging people on the scene, because if you're paying people and they're salaried, that means that they have certain rules. Maybe they can't enter the tournament, or like how much they can enter the tournament is severely limited because they're getting paid to be there. And chances are, if they're getting paid to be there, like part of the reason is like the advertising value they have, so that way they can bring more revenue to the tournament.
That's true. Your Twitter and Twitch pull, that is so important.
That we're not adding a 6th thing. We're using the Pentagon. Be quiet.
Commentator hexagon, man.
All right. So, like, so you're only gonna go with like people keep saying the rich get richer in commentary because they're always gonna pick those. Well, there's a value to that, and there's a monetary value on people who are getting. So you have to like make that up. So you basically choose one of 2 options. You either have less tier 1 talent, and you let more people get the stage for the first time, or you invest extremely into commentary, make sure everything's tier 1, but then you're going to have everybody else asking why I didn't get a slot and when's my chance, and my commentary portfolio can't be
LOL.
given if I don't get any of these things. So you have 2 choices. You either open it up and people get paid less because it's more of a volunteer. I want to develop my resume. Let's give some chances. Or you fully pay everybody and you just eliminate everybody. So it's like the two examples of that was Big House 5 versus Big House 6. Big House 5 had so many different commentators, so many different unique pairings, and so many people got their breaks there. And then at Big House 6, it was the polar opposite, where everybody was super taken care of, but nobody was given the opportunity to make their big break at the Big House.
New number, who dis?
That's it. That's it. That's literally it. Like, it's so hard to balance that, and like we as TOs and streamers are working with commentators. I think Frostbite actually is pretty cool, like what we've been trying to do, where we're trying to balance that. But like, where are you going to get this money, and like where's the value got to come from? And there's a lot of these hard questions that just people won't look at. It's like, look, I either invest serious money into these commentators and they're fully taken care of, but that severely limits the amount of people I can take care of. So you either get your opportunity for the TO to give you a big break on a big stage, or you get the people who already have it, and then they just get more perks and more rewards. There's really no in between there. So regardless, the TO loses, because either we're cheap because we're not paying commentators, or we're jerks for not opening up slots for people to get their big break. Like, it's super hard, and we're definitely working with people, but it's seriously a rock and a hard place situation, and there isn't a really good answer. And the moment somebody has one, I'd love to hear it. But
pick me.
You're right. There's a lot of.
It's a complex modern day issue.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of. It's a pentagon of problems, and
Sage, hit us with that track.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Do you have it? Do you actually have the answer?
I have in my mind what, maybe not necessarily the initial answer, but I know the reason. And the reason why in Smash, more than any other sport, I'm going to say sport, because casters are universal. Not just eSports, it's whatever. When you're doing sports casting in radio, in television, whatever, the problem with Smash tournaments is there's only casters right now. There's no sideline reporter. There's no interviewer. There's no pre-show, post-show, talk show type stuff. There's no like on-the-floor podcasting for like a secondary channel or anything like that. And when you're doing casting, that's where you start. You're not the guy on the desk who's talking about the game for 40 minutes. You're the guy on the sideline who goes into the locker room and crawls underneath somebody to put a microphone in someone's face to start. And those jobs don't exist at the moment. I am doing what I can to push that, but that's where you start. For example, a friend of mine started by interviewing Derrick Rose, a basketball player in Chicago. In the rule for interviewing in sports on TV is as soon as the guy has a shirt on, you're allowed to go up to him in the locker room. So until he has a shirt on, he's fine. So he went up to Derrick Rose, and he had to crawl under the ESPN reporter and sit there kneeling with his microphone up to Derrick Rose when Derrick Rose's towel like fell off.
Let's go!
And he just had to stay there. And those are the kind of jobs you start with to get into casting. Now he does announcements for a college for a living.
That's fascinating, actually, now that I think about it, because as a player, there's definitely that tier where you grind the locals, and then you eventually get on your local PR, then you like PGR, you finally start getting your top 8.
Unless you're Mars, to be honest with you. Mars just went to Genesis and like top 8 and top 9. Like,
I mean, he was a lot of people, that's the first time he was known on the national stage, but I believe he was taking names.
He was in Brawl. He was in Brawl. My bad. I'm biased for Mars too. My bad.
But so that's interesting that there is that support network for, and there is for TOs too. If you think about it, you start as a volunteer, as a pool captain, you can move up to senior volunteer, and then you start getting to know more things, know more responsibilities, and then you learn it. But for casters, you're right, that tier, like where you can grind and you can learn things on the job, quote unquote, doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah. So here's my kind of answer to you. If you're looking to get to the national stage as a caster, if I'm putting on a Big House production, I have maybe one slot for a caster who's new. At Big House 5, it was Rod the Dutch, Rod, who works with Low Tier Legends in Nebraska, and it was Lord Sturm here in Chicago. They both got a slot together and one slot outside of that day one early. That was it, because it was a test run for them. So when you're looking to get stuff, and then later on they did UGC with me, and they both had day 2 slots, which were like
A big deal.
super late. Yeah, Sturm casted with D1 and Rod casted with EE. Like huge slots. Because they proved themselves at Big House that they were able to come onto a national stage and not crumble. So when you're looking to do bigger slots, the biggest thing is you need to get in contact and you need to work with these streamers before like putting work out for huge nationals. If I get a commentary application and you're someone I've never worked with before, and the only judgment I have is a couple YouTube videos you sent me, like, I'm not totally interested in having you on. Like, it's not an offense, but I've never worked with you. I don't know how you are in between breaks. I don't know how you are when there's a drought in content. If our stream runner messed up, I don't know how you are. I only know how you are in that YouTube video. And I can't always just judge something on the best. I have to assume the worst.
Yeah, that is a really good point. I want to make sure that people know just how vital commentary is, because Sage's entire living is based on whether or not his videos are good. And if you have a bad commentator, that's an entire wave of videos that just are plagued by that. So he's very particular about that. And there have been bad commentary blocks before. There have been bad top 8s before.
Every day.
And they're like, yeah, they definitely stigma like that whole tournament. Like the whole tournament could be perfect, and if you have major flubs in your top 8, people will just remember that. So it's huge, and both on the TO side and the stream side, it's significant things, because if your tournament flubs for whatever reason as a TO, like you could be branded with that reputation. Same with the streamer. It's rough, and I agree that the support network isn't there. But what I most agree on above everything is Suar slotted 5 minutes for this topic, and he took up all 5 minutes before we could even talk. So we've been running extremely late on this, and I want to say that thank you for asking the question. It brought in a lot more time, and I will make sure that Suar lets me know in advance so that we can make sure to allocate the proper time to that segment.
Well, really quick, okay, just bringing it back to center. Like, basically, Too Long Didn't Read is make sure that you do reach out to these streamers and TOs. Make sure your resume is polished. Make sure you have a track record, because that's what's going to speak to these situations that you get or don't get. And you have to wait. Like, you don't get your big break. Sometimes you do earlier, sometimes you don't until much later, because that's just kind of how life is. But for sure, like, you do have to earn your way. You have to pay your dues.
And my last point to go off of that is when you contact a streamer, if you just send a highlight reel and you fill out a Google form and you say, I commentated this, I was pretty good, I have a lot of game knowledge, not hiring you, hands down. You know what? I'm hiring the guy that sends me an official resume, treats it like a job, sends me a cut together highlight reel, and sends me a recommendation from his local streamer.
Ooh.
If you send me a recommendation from your local streamer and they tell me, good with the bad, if there are negative points, I'm way more likely to read through it. Ultimately, I'm hiring you. And if you send me a rec that here are his strengths, here are his weaknesses, that more than anything is getting you a job.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But yeah, so I will definitely actually this like the whole point, what would you prefer? Everyone get fewer commentators, but everybody getting fully compensated, versus more commentators to get in the spotlight, but people get less compensated. I actually, when this goes forward, I might put that up as a poll on the set count. Vote now on your phones.
Let's go.
But yeah, so we are running slightly over. I don't know, with some of the cuts, maybe we'll be
fine.
just under an hour. So hopefully that's all right. But either way, yeah.
All right, guys. So that will wrap us up for the set count then. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We are pretty much up on most major podcast platforms. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, and TuneIn. If there's any other places you want to see us, let us know on Twitter or email it to us, and I will be sure to see if I can get us added there.
He's actually put in serious work to make sure they're on all these like half a dozen different platforms. So
Sage the God.
Sage the God. But yeah, I've been your host, Vayseth.
And I'm your other host, Suar.
And I am your producer / host, Sage.
And we will see you next week.